Hello and welcome to Free from the Yoke. We are in our next session here. Last time we had the Arbiters gathering, the Arbiters Court, and we got to see the players go through that. We're going to come to exactly what's going on in our setup in just a moment here. Before we go too much further, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We are using safety tools, lines and veils, as well as the X card. The players can check on that to see what things are on and off the table. But I'd like to have everybody do a quick give us a quick sense of who their house is and who their character is. So I'm going to start on kind of a work right to left. Scott, tell us who your character is and who your family is.
Sure. My character is Samat. He uses well, obviously he uses the pronouns he, him. And right now he's a scout. But the house is the Horse Lords of the Steppe. So I think the more nomadic, more outdoorsy living folk among us. But he's not exactly dour. So if you're thinking that, that's not him. And excellent. I'm Scott, and I use he, him pronouns.
Excellent. And then David?
My name's David. I also use he, him pronouns. I'm playing a Stoina, who is kind of a younger sort of I don't know, academic sort of a lore master. She is part of the Keepers of the Old Runes, who kind of have like, I don't know, they're trying to have kind of a stranglehold on the magic, but of the world of the old runes. But yeah, see how it goes.
And then Brian?
I'm playing Ziv, they, them, the ambassador for the envoys. They are representatives of a nation overseas, and Ziv just recently was able to publicly marry their wife and is officially adopting their own son, and yeah.
And did that after convincing your sister in a pretty well played move there. And then last but not least, Alexi.
Hi, so I'm Alexi, he, him. You can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. If you're interested in seeing the games I've been creating, like Back Again from the Broken Land, or games I've been running, you can follow Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and on itch.io to keep track of all that. In this game, I am playing the Church of Uncreated Fire, which is a religious organization. It came to this land among the slaves of the empire, but it had been, working on infiltrating, redeeming the empire from within at the time of the revolution. And we've, not been completely in favor in the sort of populist regime that followed the empire. And we've been working on that, antagonizing the old nobility a bunch, for one thing. My player character, part of the Church of Uncreated Fire, is Ivana. She is the Bogatyr. She is a warrior and champion of the church. As a young person, she was considered a possible prophet, and then it turned out she was definitely not a prophet, but she's been trying to continue to serve the church in her own way on the front lines of the battle. And she is committed to enacting revenge on Nazar Rud, the perfidious former imperial who committed great crimes against the church and then changed sides and became part of the Arbiter's Court. But he will be brought to justice.
So right now we are at the sort of the gathering of the Arbiter, and this is at the fire pit, which is located next to that sort of great volcano, and Oksana has met with everyone, kind of doled out some requirements. Right now, control is at the middle of the sort of the 10 points. We're still in good shape there. Turmoil has gone up a couple of degrees, but it's not gotten to the point at which it could cause problems. The project of building this great aqueduct is 2 ticks out of 5 along on the progress count. There's no movement on the doom track so far. We haven't had that as a fallout for any particular moves. But that's on the table as a thing that kind of needs to be done. We're going to start with our characters kind of talking with each other here at that meeting, but I want to talk about some things that were established last time that are clearly kind of targets for actions this time. For one thing, certainly our horse clans were asked about those woods and that realm, that past that lies beyond the Borderlands ruins. They discovered that there was evidence of some great serpenty being moving through those ruins. Where they are is unclear. That's one thing. Another thing that was looked into, and I'm not going to like necessarily ties to a particular house, but another thing that was established is the existence of something called the Commune of Doves. They are an artists, crafters commune in Adar, which is one of the island micronations that make up the Sisters, and they have great crafters and things like that. And there was some discussion about maybe going and recruiting some of them, so on, bringing them in. That was one of the ideas that was brought out. The other thing that was established is to the south lies the Kingdom of Drago. And the Kingdom of Drago is not good. At least your peoples do not believe they are good. They have certainly been building up defenses and luring people into ambushes and that kind of thing. What is important about that are some facts that were established. One, that there were a group of engineers, highly skilled, who were part of the empire, who were kind of trapped there and remain on as guests of the kingdom since the empire withdrew. And those people were talking about how they could get those people out of there. But then the other thing was finding out that there is how do I put this, an underground rebellion, or at least a schism within the ruling people of the Kingdom of Drago. I put some faces for names there on this. I gave us a face for the nobles, face for the Kingdom of Drago, for the White Chamber, which are the opposition in Drago, and for the Commune of Doves and our engineers there. We also still have not established the Arbiter's agent, but I put a face there. We'll figure out who they are. And I gave them a name so we can get that figured out. Are there any big, like, looming things, overhanging things that I missed in that summary? Oh, besides the werewolves that are rampaging the countryside, there's that too. But that's a thing out there. Anything?
Did the church get a task from the Arbiter to like exorcise the ruins in the south?
I'm trying to remember. I think so. I think to at least spiritually assist with that.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Okay, cool.
So we take up with the four of you present at this meeting. It has been a few months since you made that expedition to the Red Forest, and things have kind of have changed a little bit for each of you. So I want to imagine that you know each other well enough that there would be some kind of scheduled meeting here. And I think that the person who probably has the most pull in some ways here, the most wealth to spread around on this, might be Ziv. So Ziv, if you were going to host your friends to meet and speak, what kind of thing would you do it in the midst of a feast? Would you set it up at your own sort of encampment? Where would we take our shot here for that?
Well, we've already seen the luxury ship, so
Mhm.
I don't think we need to see that again. I think that the choice of venue would be political, right? It's who can we curry favor with by making use of their.
Who do you want to curry favor with?
That's a good question. Well, my need is luxury items, so I guess it'd be whoever has the supply of luxury goods over here.
I imagine that is either the nobles, if you want to go to them, and they're much beloved by our church folk. The sort of the old nobility. Alternately, there might be other like ambassadorial representatives from the islands there that might have come to do trade arrangements here at the thing. Which do you think is more likely, or would it be a third party?
I don't know. Yeah, neither of those really sound right to me. Maybe there's some kind of merchant class.
We haven't established that. So there is a budding mercantile group within the kingdom that have been setting up. They're probably trying to get greater recognition, and so have invited you, Ziv, and your friends to come, and they will feast you and provide food and luxury. So they're trying to impress, because they know that you have influence, and they want greater recognition for mercantile monopolies and trade routes and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have access to like a lot of goods and stuff at the moment. I'm pretty tapped out. So what I can offer is access to a lot of fancy people. Yeah,
access and connections is what they are looking for. Yeah. So we see you four have also been given great honor and food and so on. And I think we take on sort of towards the end of the evening, when the music has kind of died down, and the four of you have a chance to as the torchlight dims, to talk with one another about the events of the last few days. So let's start with Samat. Samat, when we come to you, what are you saying? Do the horse lords have something that they want, or how do you feel about what's going on?
We're concerned overall. I mean, overall, the horse lords are a bit concerned with the status of the project. Seems like the nobility were not happy. The nobility seem to be still, I don't know, hanging in there and making themselves needed, which is the worst part.
You think they wouldn't dare to show their faces around after their terrible secret sins were laid bare?
And yet somehow they seem to still have just that thing that others need. If they were ornamental, we would not be concerned.
You worry they have some leverage over the Arbiter?
I'm worried that they're still finding ways to be valuable to the houses.
Ivana quaffs another drink of whatever it is we're serving here.
Foreign wines brought here, the sort of the highest, a little bit sharper than the kinds of things you usually have.
And like a full-bodied flavor.
I have to hand it to you, Ziv. You always find a way to offer something unusual and memorable at one of these events.
They'd get extremely tedious otherwise.
You're bored with our company, old friend? She punches you playfully on the shoulder.
Your company could probably use with being a bit more boring at times, but no, certainly not.
I think at that lull in the conversation is that you will hear the sort of the huzzah as the merchants greet another person coming in, and you will see Nazar Rud come in with his entourage there. The merchants are clearly they're sucking up to him immensely, and he comes in, nods. He looks, his eyes probably glance over the table, but only seem to acknowledge Ziv. He kind of nods to you, and then sits down, and the merchants bring over again more fine wine and so on, and he's sort of holding court there to talk with them. Clearly his sort of nightly rounds of building up contacts and such.
I'm going to set my drink down, emphatically, and kind of lean across the table to sort of whisper to Ziv, but like it's a loud whisper, so definitely everyone can hear it. Ziv, you know everyone, including that jumped up Imperial rat Nazar Rudd. How can I make him finally stand and fight to pay for his crimes?
What a way to talk about our fellow guest. I don't know that Nazar is the fighting type.
No, you don't need to be the fighting type to kill a conclave of old men and young children in order to make some bloody-minded point.
Most rats are not the fighting kind. They're just rats.
Can I roll to find common ground?
So you're trying to I was looking at the moves there. It feels like you're trying to push someone to do something, right?
Yeah, because I think at the very first session, Ziv established a connection with Nazar Rudd as a sort of, semi informant for them, and I am interested in trying to get Ziv to give me something to use against Rudd. Does that sound right?
Yeah, let's have you roll with cunning.
All right. I don't even remember what Ivana's cunning is, but I bet it is bad. All right. I'm rolling with a -1 here. Popping over to the dice roller. Setting my username. All right. And these are D6s I'm rolling,
Yes,
not D2s.
not D2s.
And that's a 4.
That is a 4. Ivana, you are loud in this. Very, very loud.
She's not subtle.
And Ziv, uh, Ivana is much louder than she ought to be when she is saying
Right.
this.
How does the call for aid move work? Because that's after you roll a failure, right?
So after failing to
we do
roll,
that?
you can try to boost Ivana's efforts to keep this from ending badly. Do you want to try and do that? Because it'll go up a degree. It's not like a +1. It'll actually bump up to a 7 to 9.
I guess the person who failed is supposed to say.
I'm open to getting help.
Yes,
The whole point of the move was to ask for help.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, because it could only get worse or better. So this feels like cunning to do that. Does that feel like the right stat to okay.
And you might have advantage on helping me because we do have backstory together, and mine is I respect Ziv's devotion to their house even though it caused me trouble. So it's possible that you're returning a favor from one of the times I dragged you out of a firefight.
We don't often get a chance to call in the backstory for advantage, so yeah.
Yeah,
it's written right there on the move.
Ivana has saved my life a couple times, so okay, so yeah, times 2. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, a 9.
A 9. So 7 to 9, and you would also share in the move's consequences. Luckily, this is a move that doesn't have those consequences. So, Alexei, frame for me exactly what you're asking of Ziv, so that Ziv can choose their fine common ground response.
Yeah, absolutely. So I take it the help is Ziv like successfully getting Ivana to like be like slightly more subtle about this, right?
Like this is not how we talk about that where people can hear. Yeah. It's like you're trying to influence me and I'm like talking you through how you should go about doing it. No, you should like remind me of the things you've done for me, but and focus on the positive,
Yeah. So she like takes a fortifying drink of the imported wine, and she says, Ziv, I'm happy for you and your family to finally be together. You clearly know the importance of remembering oaths and biding your time, but fulfilling them in the light of day when that time comes. I have an oath that has been burning in my soul, and it makes even this fine wine of yours taste like nothing but ashes till I complete it. A man who did terrible crimes against my house still lives and breathes unpunished, and that must change. Give me a way to make him answer me.
Now you get to pick 2 things from that list.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to figure out exactly what things on this list are represented by this. But I think Ziv's reply is essentially like, I'm no fan of Nazar, and I believe your goal is just, but I don't serve only justice. I serve many masters, and Nazar is a useful tool. If he can be used and disposed of, I'm not opposed, but he can't just be tossed away. So I guess the idea is the plan to like we can destroy this guy, but I gotta get something out of it. I think their faction gets influence on your house. I would definitely always happy to pick that.
And it sounds like maybe you're also picking that you can add or remove specific things to the task because you're adding that, you know,
Yes, kind of be on my terms. It's got to be done in a way that doesn't screw things up for me. Or your plan about like challenging him to a duel and like killing him may sound great to you or whatever, but like that's not going to work for me. But yeah, we could probably come up with some way of doing it that would. I'm not sure what that plan is, though. I guess we have to actually figure out what that plan is.
Yeah, but if those are Ziv's terms, Ivana will like nod, right, and kind of finish the wine and you know kind of slam the goblet down as like a sealing of this bargain.
So Estonia, what has been your you've been quiet through this. What is your reaction to this very, very aggressive, violent talk here at the table?
Yeah, I was I didn't want to be annoying to the players, but I think she's been annoyingly like asking like, oh, what did he do? What is this? Who is this person? What is he? Does he have a position now? Maybe she's like whispering to Samat the whole time as you two were like discussing this. I figure that's how she's kind of handling that.
You're great because you're the person in the scene who's like getting all the exposition out.
Yeah, exactly.
So Nazar will rise to go, and he will, with his entourage behind him, walk over to you, and he will say, Master Ziv, my congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you.
And he gestures to one of his people, and they kind of step forward with an ornate, beautifully carven box, and he sets it down on the table next to you. He says, consider this a small token, a gift for you and your bride. I just wanted to have the chance to give you those congratulations, and I hope that we will work together again in the future.
I think you can be sure of it.
And he nods to you again, not acknowledging any of the rest of you at all. Before he turns to go.
I spit on the ground audibly.
Are you trying to start something?
I'm just. I think if he wants to, read it as a signal, he can. But she's content to find out what Ziv will help her with here.
He pauses when you do that, and you see him turn, and he looks back, and you see him scratch at his eye a little bit, the same eye that you're missing, and then he turns and continues on.
and like the arm of my chair like breaks from where I've been gripping it really hard.
Snaps off. So I would like, I think we can kind of maybe move. Maybe we want to do a house move, kind of move up to that level to kind of see what's going on with the houses. And then if we want to come back to this scene, or if we want to come back to individual scenes about what people are doing, we can do that. But let's start with kind of a house move to see what's going on. Samat, what are the horse lords doing?
Checking the needs for the project here. And herd scouts. All right, so I do have land to offer. I don't know if that's gonna still need raw materials. I don't have raw materials.
If you give up your land, the aqueduct is passing through the steppes. Do you wish to formally turn over your rights to that land?
I think we do. I think it's a challenging decision for us to make as a house. But
what does that deliberation look like? What is that? What do we see?
Well, the council meets of all the clans, and there's arguing because without our land, where do we raise our horses? This promised land to the south is not yet ours, and without our horses, what are we other than just those quaint people who move around a lot, without the value of our horses that we bring to every other family, to all the other houses. So ultimately it's put to a vote, and it's a close vote. I think council, let's just say it's 13 houses in the council of clans, just because that's an odd number, and 7 vote to give up the land and 6 vote to keep it. So it's right along the edge there, and so our morale will go down to even odds. But yeah, we will sacrifice that land.
And I assume that at this meeting there is kind of a ritual presentation of those documents here, and Oksana will make a great scene of that. Like it's clearly a keystone in what needs to be done, the finishing out, the formal recognition of the needs of the empire, and so your favor will go up with the arbiter by 1, and we'll put another tick on the clocks. And certainly the horse lords are given more acknowledgement than they have been in the recent past. Let's come to the church.
Yeah, I think we're interested in getting the artisans from the Commune of Doves kind of into into this project, right? Recruiting them for the aqueduct's success. When we read The Wind in the past, I think we learned that there was a spiritual crisis kind of ongoing on the island because of more and more turbulent weather that was kind of throwing off all of their prophecies or understanding of their place in the natural order. So I wonder if we might just send a lot of missionaries from the Church of Uncreated Fire to preach to the commune and kind of give them a way to understand the natural forces roiling their land as a sign that they should come to the mainland and kind of follow the light of the Uncreated Fire to assist with the Arbiter's Aqueduct.
So I think that there are a couple of ways that we can read that. We could read that as a whole together, that there's kind of an overcome to go and do this and draw those people over. If you are doing this a little more forcefully, a claim by force is not necessarily physical force. It can be spiritual force as well. Those are a couple of options. What do you think about those? Because there are a couple of different ways that we can resolve that move.
Let's do claim by force.
Okay.
I want to claim them by spiritual force. I don't have I have a -1 grasp, but I do have advantage on this because of the big kind of show of force we got to do when we negotiated with the envoys and had a big party celebrating the wealth that we were transferring to them. I have advantage to the end of the age on claiming by force.
Excellent. Then let's see that roll.
All right. So this is rolling 3d6 as the church sends its missionaries to claim the Commune of Doves by spiritual force. Okay, so I'm looking at 8 minus 1 is a 7.
Oh, just right there. I had me excited there for a second. So what are the two elements that you want to choose? And then we'll kind of figure out what this actually looks like.
Yeah. There's 3 options and I think I got to pick the second 2 because it doesn't help me very much to have something that only comes into effect at the start of the next session.
Exactly. So we'll just click up the turmoil. So what is the thing that creates the turmoil? You go there, and there is this kind of wild magic of the weather that is going on. Again, we talked about maybe it comes from the Kraken, but maybe it's more to do to some defect or change in the runes that is happening here. So what is this the sort of the turmoil look like here when your church sends your people here to deal with this problem?
I like the idea that maybe if we successfully kind of win over some of the characters from this commune, right? They're specifically crafters. Yeah, if we win over some of these crafters and kind of sail them back over the difficult passage, right? Even though it's but a small channel, there's this wild weather. I think maybe the weather follows them inland, and so we have these new crafters, but there's also suddenly kind of severe storms spreading from the northern coast further into the land, as if it's dogging the heels of the crafters.
Yeah, and I think you carry that back. That certainly will cause disruption. Again, remember you have next to the lake all those people who are trying to farm to do that. And I think the need that you're going to get is attunement. I think that you bring essentially an aspect, a rune of water into the land, and I think that creates an imbalance that very soon your church members will be able to tell that there is an issue that is ongoing, some fear that the touch of the Kraken, by bringing these people here that were under its watch, as you've discovered that it has permitted the gaze of the Kraken to fall on the land.
Badass.
Let's come to our keepers of the old runes. What are you up to?
Yeah, so they were also tasked with finding these kind of sacred emeralds too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't think of a way for them to directly help with this aqueduct, so I think they might focus on trying to locate those.
Absolutely. So that would be read the wind, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're pretty good at reach. Let's see how this
Yeah.
goes. Uh, 10.
On a 10. So not only do you get an answer, you're going to be able to mark the map with that. So what is the question?
Um, I guess I don't know which one would be would make more sense of trying to get these emeralds. Probably either the how do we get surplus emeralds or how do we get access to it, right?
I think that you will, track back where these came from in the past, looking for that. And I think that you will find that before the empire took over, when it was known that they were coming, the old king closed up the mines, the source of this, and destroyed all records of where these could be found. But in and amongst your libraries, you find a scrap, a piece of paper that points to where this lost vault, this lost mine of these emeralds lies. So where do you think that is?
Oh, interesting. Let's oh, maybe it's somewhere near First Throne.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember, I think that was like the capital of the old place before the Empire game. So maybe they almost like built that city nearby that forgotten mine.
Absolutely. Go ahead and put a mark for that on the map. And there was the lost mines of emeralds. There'd be a whole module about it. Yeah. So your people are able to track that down. Ziv, let's come to our envoys. What are the envoys up to?
It's always so many things that need to get done. Really trying to figure out how we get rid of Nazar in some way that's useful.
You could suborn one of his hench people to be like, hey, you can have his position if you help me get some dirt on him. Just spitballing here.
Right.
Subterfuge, if you want to do a house action to operate on that, is a good way.
Okay.
You can cause a scandal.
Yeah, that makes sense that it would be the subterfuge.
Alternately, you could talk with him mano and mano and attempt to manipulate him into something.
It's just the the subterfuge is causing a scandal within the house, causing him to be.
So yeah, and then you can use that however you wish, however you want to turn that. Well, essentially, you could use that to create a rift between him and the Arbiter, or something along those lines, or potentially have him hunted as an outlaw or something. It depends on how you want to frame that.
I'm trying. My thought is to tie it to something else, either just somehow he's fed to the werewolves, or he's something to do with the Kingdom of Drago. I don't.
Well, you could certainly, if you want to connect him to Drago, you could certainly fake evidence that, or find evidence that he's working with the Kingdom of Drago.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Well, let's have you roll with sleight.
An 8.
An 8. So tell me, what do we see on screen? Like, you clearly have agents and operatives, right? So what does that look like? What do we see you doing? Are they uncovering evidence, or are they planting evidence? What do we see?
Yeah, I think it's more just planting evidence, and we're just setting these bombs to go off when someone else stumbles over them, and so that we're long gone by the time it shows up.
Rud might figure that out in the long run, but we see your agents operating. We see them going, making contacts with some of the agents of Drago. We see them going in and planting pieces in Nazar's records. We see other people going and swapping things out in the Arbiter's own household, the agents and things like that. How do you think that comes to a head? Like, what happens? Does he get accused openly? Or is there something that occurs? What is it?
I mean, I think it would be interesting if he actually stumbles across some of this evidence against him, and then he like comes to me to like help him fix this.
We see Nazar arrive. This is sometime after, and he will arrive, late in the night, hooded, with a small group of his entourage, and you've been woken up in the middle of the night, and Nazar says, "Ziv, I am so sorry to disturb you at this late hour, but I have need of your help."
It must be very urgent.
Someone has planted evidence. Someone has paid people off. There is a campaign, a conspiracy against me. I suspect the church folk, they have always had it out for me, despite my dedication to the Arbiter's new empire. But I know that within a few days, accusations will be brought against me that I am in league with the Kingdom of Drago. They have pieces. People have already begun to sniff, to push on things. I need your help. I have a great deal of wealth. And if you could find me passage to your homeland quietly, I certainly would leave you the lion's share of what I have here and take only what is absolutely necessary for me to set up a new life elsewhere. I would fight this, but there are enough vipers in the nest here that I do not look well upon my chances. Will you help me with this? He snaps his fingers and one of the people comes forward and they lay down a strong box, open it up, and there's ill-gotten coin and cash and so on that it glistens in the light. I have been nothing but helpful to you.
These accusations are
preposterous. Yes.
But yet strong enough for you to feel the need to flee.
Again, I turn my back on the empire because of the rightness of the cause of the arbiter. But people remain suspicious of me despite my devotion. And this, I cannot fight against this.
You put me in a very difficult position.
No one need know. I'll vanish in the night. No one will know.
I will look into and see what I can do.
He leans forward. Look, if you're worried about these two who are with me, I'll have them killed right after this. No one but you and I will know.
Meanwhile, Ziv is just trying to figure out like how he can have this guy killed after taking all his wealth. Yeah, I mean, I think Ziv's plan is to like tell him, yeah, sure, and then just have like the goons waiting for him on arrival to just take.
You're not going to give him into Ivana's power?
Yeah, I guess if I'm making arrangements, then yes, I could just he boards a boat and then Ivana's just there waiting for him. Sure.
Cold and lonely shore. He's to go and wait for this ship to arrive to take him.
Yeah.
You know, he has his goods with him. So I think we kind of do that thing where the scene kind of fades and we get that mist and the shore and we see him standing there. He has one person with him and maybe a chest. And I think we see the boat with the light on it coming in along the tide, and we see Nazar turn to his assistant and knife him just to make sure that there's no one to give the tale. And he's standing there waiting. Tell me what we see, Ivana.
Yeah, so Ivana's like on like standing at the front of the ship, George Washington style, right? Like, cloaked and brooding. And as it pulls up, in front of Nazar. She like pulls the cloth over the ceremonial lantern of the Church of Uncreated Fire, and then like turns it like a spotlight on him, and says, "I'm giving you a chance to stand and fight, which is more than you gave the conclave. I may be no prophet, but I know what lies in your future, Red." And I'll throw him a sword to be sporting.
And I think he will pick up the sword. And it in some ways it might be a duel, but he is a cheater. And like the moment that the sword is sort of in his hand, he's turned around and he's flung a dagger at you. And he's coming in to try and before you can even step to maybe drive this into you, he is a rat bastard.
He sucks. He sucks so bad.
Let's have you roll might.
What am I? What am I? Is this?
This is fiercely assault.
Okay.
He's not standing to move and fight you in a duel that would be an exchange and conversation. He wants to knife you and get that boat and get out of here.
All right. I'm going to pull out my ceremonial sword and aim to administer some punishment. I'm going to roll with might. Back down to 2d6. Oh no. Oh no. Wow, that didn't go well. I rolled a 4, and even with my might, that's only a 5.
So let's see, on a hit, you've achieved your goal. So you have not achieved your goal. Tell me how you kill him, and it is the least honorable, most bloody, messy, unsatisfying kill.
I think it's that he gets in close with the knife, right, and immediately attacks my sword arm, right. So I drop the sword and it like disappears into the surf, and then I'm like wrestling with him to grab his knife and like drive it into his shoulder, and then he headbutts me and like pulls the knife out of himself and just is stabbing at me a bunch, and I like take several more like wounds to the face and shoulder before just like grabbing him by the hair and shoving his head under the surf to drown him.
And back up and down, and that thing where you wrestle for minutes of exhaustion and a bloody surf, and then you drag yourself out. His body kind of flops and gets taken by the tide, and you'll realize that you look down and your right hand is crippled.
And the fire goes out in the lantern that I brought.
Absolutely. Body kind of bobs in the shore, blood coming down. Ziv, were you present for this, or have you, a plausible deniability nowhere near this?
No, okay. Nowhere near.
Then I think that is that thing, Ivana, of having to kind of crawl back, bloodied, back home to try and catch your breath. Let's take 5 here, and when we come back, we'll see where everybody is at. Probably do another house move there. And the other thing we'll do is when we come back onto Ivana's, we'll resolve the delivering of those crafters, because that'll go through. Okay. can't remember which Hitchcock film it is, but there's one of those Hitchcock films, I think with Paul Newman, where he's fighting this enemy spy, and it goes on and he just can't kill him. And it is just this long, brutal sequence where Hitchcock is kind of making a point of how hard it is to do that. That is always in my mind when those kinds of things go down, and just like the exhaustion of it at the very end. So let's do another kind of once around at the house level to see if we can kind of get pointed at some things. Let's start with Samat. What are you up to? What do the horse lords want now? There've been some changes. There's been a political thing that one of the associates of the Arbiter went on the run, and now information has come up implicating them in a number of criminal activities. But what are the horse lords about right now? You are muted.
Thank goodness that Zoom tells you that now. I think we would like to try to engage some support in looking further into the ruins down south, and what power lays hidden there.
That feels like Read the Wind.
Yep.
What is the thing you want to know?
Oh wow, there's a new interface for Roll With Me. Cool.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's the old one and the new one.
Yeah, did these overlays, which I wasn't used to. Let's see. Let me go to the Read the Wind first. On my work computer, I keep getting these email pop-ups that get in the way of my touch screen. Actually, I guess so. What I'd be looking for is how to get there safely to seek it out without, being beset upon by whatever ancient.
Yeah, let's have you roll.
And roll plus reach. I think our reach is 0. Yep. Nope. 2 6-sided dice. Did it roll? I rolled a 6. Oh, so close.
So close. So you will discover a ritual for protecting your people when they go down into this dangerous area. An old ritual that should protect everyone from the call of these serpents.
All right.
And it looks like it should provide you an easy way to make your way through that pass. Should that be what you require?
Okay. Good. That was a worthwhile endeavor.
Yes, that's what you think. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's come then to Alexi. Let's come back to the church. We kind of be able to skip around because Ziv put you in the hot seat, but we come back to you here in kind of the order that we've done. So this is probably a few weeks after that incident. What do you look like after that?
Ivana specifically.
Yeah.
I think she's been spending a lot of time just sitting silently next to the Lake of Penitence. Maybe maybe kind of tentatively attempting to relearn swordplay with her left hand, but it's frustrating, slow progress, and yeah, just kind of staring into the lake a bunch of the time.
And what does it look like? Like, what is the process for the church providing access to these craftsmen for the project?
Yeah, so there's a face for the craftsman, that's Bilash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think Bilash was our first convert when we sent missionaries to the Commune of Doves, and the church is very pleased with her devotion, and kind of has her go to the Arbiter and offer the services of her people for the creation of the aqueduct.
And the Arbiter will say, "I do not know your people. How is it that you have come to make this great donation to our cause?"
She'll say, let us say we were led by the uncreated fire.
Oh. And you will be feted and given honors there, and place will be provided for Bilash and the craftspersons, along with temples, shrines for the church to help support that, and that will make the progress track go up by 1, and that will give you an additional favor with the Arbiter.
Nice. I love the idea that maybe the craftsmen are like incorporating imagery from the church into the aqueduct itself.
Absolutely, yeah. More sort of ritual imagery and markings and such. All right, so that gets us much closer. So let's come back to the Keepers of the Old Runes.
Yeah. So as far as the aqueduct goes, we just need one more thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we still missing from the needs? The
So
engineers and
don't have engineers. We have got recruits. We don't really have defenses. We don't really have organized leadership there. So there's some gaps.
yeah, okay. I want to try to help out with one of those. Okay, so yeah, what I'm thinking is I keep forgetting that I can bring out a treasure once per age to accomplish something. An
Oh,
impressive
okay.
feat. Effects and costs to be determined by GM. So I think I want to have them use some kind of rune to maybe help with one of those. I feel like
Ooh.
the thing that might make the most sense is if they like maybe I don't know, like engrave or build some kind of like rune on it, maybe to defend it for all times or something.
Oh, interesting. So using that to create a defensive item that will stand for those defenses. Okay. Then let me look at this. How that ritual and impressive feat. So I think I want to do this as a ritual.
Yeah.
Like I think we'll sort of do the ritual role to do that. So what is the rune or the manifestation of a rune that is brought out? Like, what is the rune itself, and then like what is the manifestation of it that is being brought? Like, we know that we've had beast and wood as rune before.
maybe just like protection or something, maybe.
Okay. Like just the rune that represents protection represents a shield. Okay. And
Yeah.
but what is the physical manifestation of that look like?
Yeah, I was originally thinking, or I had said carved into it, but I think it would be more interesting if it was like a fix, like you could, sometime in the future, someone might be able to remove it. So trying to think of something grand enough. Maybe it is just like they put it on a physical shield, maybe. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure how aqueducts are usually constructed, but maybe in like one of the
Like maybe there's one central point where the shield is, and then there are various manifestations of it down along the aqueduct to represent that reinforcement protection.
Oh yeah, I like that. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of almost like representations that kind of feed into the main one.
Yeah. So this is a ritual, and I think that Stonia is the person who's had the most encounter with manifestations of the runes before, so she's certainly amongst those. So I think we're going to have you roll enact a ritual.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see. That is a character move.
Roll plus lore.
Nice, an 11.
11. And I think also you'll doing this ritual will give you a point of vision towards that. So what does Stonia's part of this ritual look like?
Yeah, I think so. They have, if I remember correctly, I think there's like 3 main elders that are just elected for the keepers, and maybe like it's no official thing, but like he is the oldest one of the 3. Maybe is the one overseeing this whole thing and doing most of the ritual stuff. And I'm thinking in the days and weeks since our last session in game time, I think she's been kind of making complaints, like maybe more vocal than she should have been about not being included in this the other thing in the Red Forest situation, even though they had in her mind promised her, even though I think even at the time you're like, yeah, you can tell he's lying already. So maybe this is kind of if you shut up, we will let you be here at this historical event.
Excellent. You get to pick 2 blessings from that list. And I think in this case, the tutor is actually the rune itself.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to take that one. That would be interesting, gaining the insight.
And what do you want for the other one?
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if I wanted to do exactly what I want, but that doesn't sound very fun compared to this. It's far more powerful. So I might do that one.
And I think that we do see, like, the people who are present see this physical investment that you've made of the shield rune, but then they also see and feel in the physical world the manifestation of that symbolic rune itself. And I think that we will see that kind of run down the length of the aqueduct as much as it's made, and and the bricks tighten, things fall into place. Everything is reinforced. You can feel that strength of solidity that comes to this. And I think that you will realize, that the runes, something has happened to bring the runes closer to the world, that you can do this, that you can touch and manifest these things in a way that that hasn't been possible as far as you knew before. And I think you will feel a connection to that protection rune in that sense. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I love that.
And that will be the final tick in that progress. So we're going to finish out this go around, and then we'll do a quick check-in, and then we'll see about the age thing. Ziv, your plans have come to fruition. You don't know exactly what went down, but you know that Nazar is no longer around. You know that you've heard that Ivana suffered grave injuries recently. And of course, then the news comes out about Rude's crimes, and the Arbiter sends out agents to search for him and have no success in finding him. So he is simply branded an outlaw. And you can muse on that as you look at the box of treasure that he left for you. So what is up with the envoys?
Well, if the aqueduct is completed, yeah, because I guess before I had an image of like seeing the items of treasure that he left behind, and then seeing them like bribing people down in Draco for those engineers or whatever. But I guess we don't need them anymore.
Oh, no. That's a potential surplus for you.
Okay.
Keep in mind, anything like that is useful, because you can put those to use to solve problems. It might be useful for a future project. You always want to get surpluses, and how to get one. So what? How do you think that works? Do you think this is a claim by force, or do you think you're using subterfuge to make the engineers look less valuable?
I mean, we're certainly better at subterfuge than claim by force.
You get a couple of different options. You could create a scandal and give the White Chamber an advantage. Maybe thank you. You can make the engineers seem less valuable and take it away. You could sabotage the guards that surround the engineers. You got a bunch of different options there.
Yeah, I mean, if we simultaneously make it seem like these engineers are disgruntled and they're sabotaging their own projects, and then at the same time, show up offering to hire them away.
Are you going to use the money that Nazar gave you to assist with this? I'll give you advantage if you want to spend it that way, that ill-gotten coin.
I mean, it's safer to spend it there than at home, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, let's see you roll with a sleight with advantage.
And look, if anybody discovers that the Kingdom of Drago has all this treasure that had been seen in Nazar's possession, that'll just confirm that he was in their pocket the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. So, actually, I get one more die, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay, so a 7.
So a 7. So you will. I mean, we see a montage of the people talking with you, and then we see them in Drago. We get images of the slightly different clothing and styles and the banners and so on, and we see them going in, talking with the engineers, the kind of the failures of certain things, the downfalls of defenses, the growing dissatisfaction of the kingdom with these engineers. Probably some public whippings and realizations that these people are not going to work for them willingly, and then trying to find a way to use them to gain some advantage when you happen to show up with an offer. And I think we see you even perhaps meeting with the both Donna, the leader of the kingdom, and your work has done well. But I think it is in that meeting that you have the sense that Badana knows that this is certainly actions have been taken, and she accepts the money because she needs it, in her battle against her rivals, and she will turn over the engineers under Kinya-san's authority, sends them with you. But I think that she says, Ziv, is it then? This is Bodana. You have tied your fate to the kingdom in the north and not to your homeland.
I serve the Alliance by doing my work in the kingdom. I find when people work together, all can benefit.
You should take care, because your arbiter will not always be as reliable as she may appear at this point. And at some point, a new regime will come. And when that happens, old debts will need to be paid. You may take these engineers, but I have marked you. Go. And you can tell that she's unhappy with what's gone on, but she does let you go. There's probably a little bit of tension about whether they're, going to actually let you go or whether there's going to come to a fight. But we see you crossing the border with engineers who are incredibly grateful, and swear fealty to you. And so you may take surplus engineers. And we'll raise that turmoil by 1. Unless you actually, you've got 2 choices there. You can we can raise turmoil by 1, or you can decide to hold off on getting the engineers until the beginning of the next stage. Which technically is going to come right now, so there's no reason to not take the second pick.
Okay.
Yeah, mechanically there. So, so let's do a kind of a check-in once around before we go to the turning of the age, because there's a process that we walk through. This is a chance for characters to change. It's a chance for your house to evolve, and for things to change in general with the land. So Samat, where are you right now, like in the hierarchy of your house? What's your outlook? You're still pretty young. When this project is done, what is Samat's kind of role right now?
Samat is, I pick for, I'm the scout. I think let me just check once. So right now he's the outsider, but given some of the participation with the project that Samat's been engaged with, and also locating the land, I think his position within the Horse Lords is bound to change.
Yeah, certainly feels more tied in with them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all of his actions have kind of steered closer towards, further away from continuing to be an outsider. So,
And there's a certain amount of adventure that's on the table now with the
Yeah.
requirements and the quests that the arbiter is given.
Yeah, exactly.
Ivana, where are you? What's your sort of within the house at this point before kind of a turning of the age? Where do we think you are?
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense to be the champion anymore since she has fulfilled her oath for whatever good that does her.
Hmm.
So I think we see actually like the big ceremony as she is placed in charge of the military forces of the Church of Uncreated Fire, and like she bows her head graciously to be anointed by one of the prophets, and then like uh, straightens up, completely expressionless, as she assumes command. So I'm going to go ahead and switch her to the leader role.
And yeah,
and
and we'll
I
we'll
think the,
we'll, we'll talk
yeah,
about that, the turning of the age, how you do that move for the characters here when we go
yeah.
through the resolution process. Stonia, how have you changed within this? Have you kind of grown into your rogue role? Or are you changing? What do you think?
I should have looked at the other roles. But yeah, I think she this kind of inclusion in this big rune casting didn't really dissuade her too much from kind of at least speaking out against or maybe not speaking out, but kind of criticizing stuff, the different things that the council's making, like decisions they're making from the keepers, especially maybe now she's kind of maybe she's written up a paper or something of this. Oh, the runes here. When I was present and helping cast the rune protection, I can tell that something's changing about them, and just over and over, the council doesn't seem to want me to investigate it, but someone has to, like that kind of stuff.
Oh, I think that that's a great idea. We have the sense of your character maybe starting to rebel, but maybe also gaining some position, some recognition for what you're doing. Depends.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Kind of like a splintering.
Yeah. Then let's come to Ziv. Where is Ziv at? Ziv's made some positive changes. You've got this new family. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing as a leader, an ambassador as a leader is supposed to supply luxuries for your faction, and that's the one need that we still have unfulfilled. So yeah, Ziv has done everything except what they're really supposed to do, I guess. So yeah, I guess there's that.
Yeah, you did want the project completed, so you have at least served that purpose.
Yeah, we've done that, but yeah, we really blew it with the rich the mines where we were going to take control there, and then I guess this was also just thinking about the Red Forest and those werewolves and the tribe that lived in there that now serves them, and yeah, that's also on
strange things here.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of steps that we're going to do now. The first is resolution of the project, and what when the project hits 5 progress, and we know where it's on the map. It runs from kind of the volcano on down to First Thorn. We'll draw that I'll draw that a little bit later. The aqueduct. Because it was successful, each of you gets to pick one of these, and multiple people may take the same one. So it's not like it's exclusive. So I'm going to quickly go through these, and if you need me to repeat when we come to you, feel free. First, You win a custodial role over the construction. You would gain 1 grasp and surplus spies from watching over the comings and goings. Or you seize new opportunities for profit granted by the construction. You gain surplus trade, and you can add a new asset option. 3, your house works a ground ceremony to tie the construction to their ancestral magic. At the start of each age that this construct still stands, you gain surplus attunement. 4, from the Wondrous Heights, you can see further than ever, gain surplus scouts, and add a revealed bounty to the map. Or you hide agents amongst the builders, letting you skim off building materials. Gain 1 sleight and surplus raw materials. Or last but not least, you work closely with another house to build the project, gain a move from their playbook, but they get influence over you. And that could be an NPC house if you wanted to draw from one of these others. These are not in the Keeper. I should have grabbed those. These are part of this for the resolution sheet, which I don't know if I have that in the folder. But Scott, let me start with you.
I think I want the one with the scouts.
Okay. From the Wondrous Heights, you can see further than ever. You gain surplus scouts, and you will add a revealed bounty to the map. So you'll add something to the map that you know about that you could conceivably go and seize to get a surplus from. So think about that, okay?
Okay. And I've already, just as a point so everybody knows, I've already got surplus scouts. So I'm going
so you can
to,
choose something else.
yeah, so I'm actually going to get soldiers, which removes my need for soldiers.
Yes.
So there.
Alexi, what about you? What do you think the church wants?
I think I want to weave a ritual of my house into the construction. We've already established that there's been, Church of Uncreated Fire imagery incorporated into the craftsmanship going onto the aqueduct. So I think there's a ritual that's part of that, so that when it's completed, there's a moment where it seems like a great fire is rising from the aqueduct, and like people draw in their breath, and then it's dispersed. But that's just the sign that the ritual has been affected.
So you will gain surplus attunement, which will immediately negate your need for attunement. So I imagine that there's also, when the fire goes up, we see it burn away that Kraken weather influence. I think we will see that, strike, and there'll be that change in the patterns.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what about for the keepers of the old runes?
I was really tempted to do the rituals too, but especially now that the church has done that, I think I'm going to go with my other choice. I was debating the custodianship.
Okay.
Maybe some keepers have to be there to maintain the protection rune.
Yeah. You will add 1 grasp to your house and gain surplus spies.
Yeah, interesting.
And Ziv, what about for the envoys?
I'm looking at the one that gives you a move from a different.
You work closely with another house to build a project, gain a move from their playbook, but they get influence over you.
Do you want to take a Church of Uncreated Fire move? Then they'll live on through the envoys.
And if you pick that, you don't have to choose the move you want to take now.
Yeah, there's so many moves to look at. What were the other options? Let me go back to it.
Oh, sure. I can go through that. Custodial role, which gets you grasp or surplus spies or surplus spies. Trade and profit, which gets you surplus trade and an asset option. The ritual magic, which gets you surplus attunement. Seeing from the Wonders Heights, gain surplus scouts and add a bounty. Hide agents among the builders, letting you skim off building materials, gain 1 slight and surplus raw materials. Or the work closely with another house.
I mean, it's either worked closely with another house or the trade. What was it? The second one, surplus trade, and
Yeah,
that's it. It's one of those two.
well, I'm going to look here now and look at the houses, because there's a arbiter also gets an advancement here. Essentially, I look and we see how many houses have positive favor. And that looks like 1, 2, looks like 3 of the houses have positive favor. So for each of those, the arbiter gets to pick one. So I will add a point of control. I will give each house surplus crops. And I think that that's interesting. Oh, that's that. Get the wrong one. I'm sorry, not surplus crops, surplus peace.
Aw, that's so sweet.
And I think that we talked about First Throne being the kind of the old fallen city. I think First Throne expands. It grows mightily as a result of this. So it becomes a massive sort of center there. Maybe not that big.
Wow, it got real big.
I dragged the corner of it out on the map. Lowell, you set it to what you're imagining for the scale there.
It's always a pain to kind of. Okay, so here, let me see if I can. Here we go. Gosh. Oh, layers. Yeah, let's do that. That looks a little bit
Bringing
bigger.
the lost emerald mine within its sphere of influence
Yes.
there.
Which also lies fairly close to where the Kingdom of Drago's border is. So that will be an issue for further consideration.
I definitely had that on mind when I put it down there.
Yes. So the arbiter makes those decisions, gets one each of those, and there's a list of those for the different types of arbiters. And then what we do is we go through the turning of the ages. So we've worked through the project resolution steps. And now we do what's called paying your debts. All power is pulled from the land, and the land will claim its power back if its health suffers. Each house answers these questions and rolls 2 dice, modifying the result according to their answers. So the questions are these. How did you manage the land? Get +1 if you tended and cared for it. -1 if you neglected it or became estranged from it. How did you treat the spirits? Gain +1 if you sought out their company and formed personal connections. -1 if you feared them or used them as tools. And then last, how has your house come together? Get +1 if you rediscovered old customs or found new ones. Get -1 if you spurned your community or descended in infighting. And the answer could be neither of those. So let's walk through that with our horse lords. How do you think you managed your land?
Oh, we sacrificed it.
Yes, I think you became estranged from it.
So I think we're estranged. So that's going to be a -1.
How did you treat the spirits? Did you seek out their company and form personal connections? I don't think you feared them or used them as tools.
Yeah, I think that one's just a null answer.
Okay.
Neither. We became aware of where there's some potentially, but and then for the other one, it's a the other one is the
Rediscovered old
Nice.
customs and or found new ones.
we did get the new ritual.
Yeah,
So I think that just evens out the dice roll.
yeah, that'll be just a flat 0.
So 2d6. Still on 2. Roll a 9.
Roll a 9. So pick one for the cost. Forget a ritual. Add a new condition to your ritual. Gain need crops. Gain need attunement, or commit yourself to overthrowing the arbiter.
I think I'll skip the last one.
Yeah, that's more of an end game kind of thing in some
Yeah.
ways.
With where we're going, what we might be doing down there, I like the gaining the need attunement.
Okay.
I think there's a potential for some story there.
Yeah. And we're going to come back to you. We update the saga where we're going to have you go through and do changes to doctrine, lifestyle, and custom options. And we'll ask you to name a new custom and then a geography, and then we'll check with your character thing. So those are questions we're going to come back around to ask you about that. And if you're wondering about where I'm at, we are on the Favor and Ages tab. At the Turning of Ages was the sort of bottom of the middle column.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the book.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's easier than this massive spreadsheet.
with your touchscreen user, yes.
Yes. Alexi, for the church, do you think that you tended or cared for your land, or neglected to become estranged from it, or neither?
We did. We had a need for crops, and we ended up we dealt with that by buying what we needed to cultivate our land and feed our people.
Yeah, so definitely a +1. I think we know how you treated the spirits. I think there's definitely a +1. You engaged with the magic of the land there.
We saw Ivana consulting with one of her ancestors about the goings on in the Red Forest.
Yeah. And how has your house come together?
Rediscovered old customs or found new ones. I think it's held pretty steady. I don't think it's either rediscovered old customs or descended into infighting here.
Sure. As you feel. So let's have you roll with a +2.
All right. Rolling +2 for Turn of the Ages. Okay, that's an 8 + 2 is a 10.
Okay, so you are fine. You are in good shape. There's no cost for you as time moves on. Then let's come to the Keepers of Old Runes. Keepers, how did you manage the land?
Yeah, I can't make a strong argument for either. I feel
Yeah,
it might be
I
a
think
dull there.
Yeah, it feels like a 0.
Yeah.
How did you treat the spirits?
And
And in this case, it would mean the runes by the spirits.
yeah, I think they I could see the argument for +1 there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how has your house come together?
Well, I just spent a couple minutes seconds ago shooting myself and saying that I just Stonia is kind of creating a stir there. So I think I've given myself a -1.
See, I think that's for the future. I think I'm going to give you a 0 on that one. I think there's a balance of old customs being rediscovered, but then this tension arising from that. So I think it feels to me like a 0 on that.
I'll take that.
So let's have you roll with a +1.
An 8.
An 8. So you have to pick one from the list. Forget a ritual, add a condition, need crops, need attunement.
Hmm. Just that Arbiter last one is hilarious.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
definitely a move I think that needs a couple more options to it, having played this a bit.
I think maybe wow, actually, okay, let's see. I should say my thoughts out loud so this isn't boring, but I was thinking
Sure.
adding a new condition to rituals could be interesting,
Ooh, yeah,
because then
like
like
what kind
writing
of
them.
what kind of thing do you now need to do when you do your rituals of the runes?
Yeah, I was thinking uh I guess we were fictionally doing this before, but I'm thinking like you have to like take the time to kind of like write them out or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I
So
was
you
going
have to
between,
have kind of a material like written component to the ritual.
yeah, I was thinking that, or the spirits haunting could be interesting too, especially since we kind of were saying the runes are kind of changing or something. We
Mm-hmm.
might represent that by they need to get to the bottom of how they're changing. That could be how they're haunting.
I like both of those.
Yeah, that's my problem too.
Yeah.
uh, mm, uh, I'll try the attunement. That seems
Okay.
like more story possibilities there.
Sure. And then Ziv, let's talk about the envoys. Did you particularly tend to care for your land or neglect your land? Either one?
Don't either really.
Yeah, no, I think we kind of fell in the middle point of that. How did you treat the spirits?
I ignored them.
That you that you did. So I think it's another 0. And how has your house come together?
That actually went pretty well.
Yeah, you added a bunch of people,
Mhm.
new traditions there. So let's have you roll with a +1.
It's a 5.
That is
Oh, a 6.
6. So we need you to pick 2.
Ooh. I don't- Wow. Okay. I don't think I have any rituals to forget.
Okay.
So it also doesn't make sense to add new conditions to rituals I don't have.
Well, but it means that if you because rituals are also can be done improvisationally.
Mm,
So it would mean a thing that if your people kind of become a little more, unattuned to how the land does its magic, there might be something new you'd have to do. Like maybe you need one of
could
those
make
people
some
from the
sense.
Red Forest present to be able to do your rituals.
That's interesting. Okay,
Okay.
sure.
And what's your other pick?
And so either spirits haunt you or need crops. I mean, I'm sorry. Nobody else picked the spirits haunting you, right?
I didn't know.
All right. All right. I'm taking that one then.
Okay. And I think
Neat.
that makes sense. We've seen that the spirits have been agitated and upset, and certainly your village people that have come in have had a different relationship with them. So that makes sense. Let me come back to you then, Scott.
Okay.
How long do we think has passed? has 5 years passed? Has 10 years passed? A longer period? What do you think is the time that we want to go? And this is a general question. Does anyone have a strong feeling about this? Does it feel like a decade? Does it feel like a couple of decades? Does it feel like just a few years?
I like the idea of it being a decade. I don't know where other folks are. I like it feeling like there's a big gap.
Yeah.
there.
So 10 years, a decade, that's a pretty significant time. Has anything changed with your family in terms of your doctrine, lifestyles, or customs?
Yes. So I wrote them down
Okay.
so that I don't have to like keep flipping on the spreadsheet. So the our doctrines changed to oh great, and then I lost my page like an
Yeah.
idiot.
And, again, these can all be found on the house playbooks tab.
So our doctrine is changing to common ground,
Hmm.
kind of a reflection of how the Council of Clans had met, and while it was split, the full group did decide to go with the majority, and again, so that's switching from the freedom of the saddle to common ground.
Okay.
And I'll fill this in the spreadsheet after
Sure,
I'm done
sure.
talking. And then in the customs, the populace is shifting from the people still have the land wherever they go. Well, we're staying the same. So once nomadic, the people still have the land wherever they go. And then culture is culture's staying. Yeah, so everything else is staying the same.
Okay.
So we're just changing the
So
lifestyle.
what do you think has been the like when we see your people 10 years down the road, what do we see as a visible mark of the change?
They're much wider spread, and sometimes borrowing land from here and there for their herds of horses. It's much less common for the Council of Clans to meet more than once a year, if that, just because of the amount of territory that we're spread over, not having quite moved to the south and secured it in a safe way. So there's no center of, you'll see horse lords throughout the kingdom,
Mhm.
basically. So very decentralized.
And what new custom has arisen?
I think because of that, we're gonna do the you adopt the best ways and practices of. Wait, that's those you fight.
No, this is a like a new ceremony or custom or thing to remember the age, not necessarily the custom with the capital C.
Oh yeah, so I think actually.
It's one of those cases where why would you use the same term for two different things? You didn't need to do that in the rules.
Yeah, it's a good example of don't use a common word for a rules term.
Yes.
When you're going to use that common word for other things in the game. Use a less common word for the rules term. I think they pay remembrance
Mm.
to the prior age. There was a lot of sacrifice. They gave land. We gave, I forget what our first surplus was that we gave, but the horse lords gave a lot for the project,
Yeah.
which has had gains for the kingdom as a whole. So we recognize, that our sacrifice had a greater good outside of just our house. And we'll invite, to this ceremony that's held at the annual meeting of the Council of Clans. We will invite members from other families, which normally at a Council of Clans it's just them, but we've invited other family members just to come, and so we can all kind of mingle, since we're mingling more than we ever have before as we move around anyway.
Nice. For the church, are there any changes to your doctrine, lifestyle, or customs that we would see?
Yeah, so I think some things, over this decade have changed. We used to have the doctrine of radicals, but now I've change to the doctrine of comforters. We have a God-given duty to provide aid to those in need. When you provide meaningful aid to those in peril, gain influence on whoever is causing their hurt. If you break the Arbiter's laws while doing so, you don't lose favor. And I think what this represents is just a church that's more settled in the land, feels less like it needs to keep litigating the crimes of the empire, and more like it can, take an active role in solving the wounds of the people, and feels it can do this, even despite anything that the arbiter might say. And I changed a lifestyle to City of Pilgrims. Your center of power is also a center of pilgrimage, drawing believers from far and wide. And I think there was just a realization in the intervening years that one-time ritual at the Lake of Penitence that everyone partook in after the fall of the empire, that something of that was still needed, right? That though the empire has fallen, there is still guilt and hurt in this land. And so now the new custom is that every single inhabitant of the land, no matter their personal piety, is strongly expected to make a pilgrimage to the Lake of Penitence at one point in their life.
Nice. Then I think that's everything there.
Yes.
Let's come to the keepers. Any changes to your doctrine, lifestyle, or customs in this 10 years? We've seen some growth and maturity from others. What do you think about the keepers?
Yeah, I think one thing I think their doctrine changes to the truth must be guarded. I think they're kind of doubling down on this, especially as the runes are kind of being more unpredictable of late. They kind of see them as more dangerous than ever. So they kind of are being more strict with their teachings.
Changes to lifestyle or custom?
No, I think those other ones are going to stay the same.
Okay.
If I remember.
So what happens in those 10 years, and what's like a ceremony or custom that evolves to mark this time? Does that split grow? Does it mend? What do you think?
I think she Sonia is kind of like maybe gets a more I don't know, like a important position, maybe like maybe instead of changing their ways, they just praise, like, these are really good insights, this is great, you should have more power within the organization, of course, while trying not to actually change anything. So maybe she's on like the fast track to becoming one of these elected elders. Nice. Without but yeah, don't actually change any of our stuff around though.
So it's still simmering below the surface.
Yeah, I think she's kind of maybe known as someone who would actually question the authority. What a cool outsider. But she's actually like, oh, okay, now that they've given me all these power to do what I actually want, this is totally fine.
Awesome. Let's come to the envoys. Any changes in doctrine, lifestyle, or customs?
I think doctrine and lifestyle are going to stay the same. Customs, I mean, integrating in these people of the Red Forest is definitely a change.
What do we see in the 10 years? How smooth is the integration of those people? How much does it change who you are?
Yeah, I think it's kind of complicated because they are from this land, but they were separate, and so it's like these two people who sort of belong where they are now, but also don't, but in completely opposite ways. And then meanwhile, the ambassador's son was not raised to be like the next ambassador, so like probably their sister's kid is the one kind of being groomed to take over someday, but now he's an adult, and like what his position is in society is really strange.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's probably pretty complicated.
Any new custom or ceremony that we would see from the envoys that has arisen?
And meanwhile, we're being haunted by spirits as well.
So maybe that's what we see is more of the kind of the folk markings to ward off the spirits.
And maybe I think they imagine it as this is like the Vermilion. It's judgment on them. They left the Red Forest and got away, and the Vermilion didn't.
Ooh. Nice. So now we're going to go around, and each of you has a chance to add something to the map. You can add a new threat, a new opportunity, and I usually say opportunities are things that you can get surpluses from later, or a new faction to the map. Let's start with the Horse Lords.
Well, I have to add something from being the scouts anyway. So
Yeah.
I actually add two things.
Yeah.
So the scouts, I think the thing that I thought of, and maybe it's down in between, what is that? That's the Emerald Mines. So closer to the Broken Shield. Who is that? Is that just that's a feature?
That's just a feature. It's I believe an urban center that was a more defensive garrison that kind of was broken.
Okay, cool. So closer to it, but in between the Lost Emerald Mines and it, I'm not even going to pretend to make a mess of this map for lol. Is the Valley of Mist.
Ooh.
And it's a valley that can't be seen into. The mist never lifts.
Interesting. Let's see if I can find a good thing for that.
Yeah, watch. I probably picked the one thing that there's nothing great at.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let's see. Where am I? Yoke. Yoke images. See what we got here. This is a weird thing, but this is what I'm going to put here for this.
That works. Looks like there's like a dragon's head sticking up from it.
All right. So is that from your scout thing, or is this
that's from the scout thing? Yeah. So I had a question. The standing man. What is that? Does anybody who ever placed that remember?
Yeah, I think I had put it there.
Yeah.
I think it was there's all these like stone figures in the middle of this hill. I think I forget if they look like people or not, but they theorize that this is where the runes originally came from or something.
So they're like, okay. So the reason I asked was, so they're not like menhirs. They're actually like carved.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah. So then I think there's a menhirs is probably the worst term, and I'm never sure if I'm actually pronouncing that word right, because it's such a weird English word. But there's a flat hill, so a plateau with just nothing but standing stones on it, large rocks, clearly moved there by some force or some peoples before us. And I would like to place that to the east in that, I guess it's kind of a peninsula area. So to the east of Father's Feast Hall.
Okay. In that spot. Okay.
Like in here. Ah, look what I just did. No, make that go away. What did I do? I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not sure what you did there.
I should never be allowed to touch Google Draw. We looked into using this for our did I just mess something up? I just totally messed something up. We looked into using this for our Dracula dossier game, and I was so bamboozled. I said, "Can we use Miro instead?"
Yeah, I think Miro is a good pick. You know, I'm gonna throw a little bit of sort of hills. Which I'm gonna shrink down, and I'll throw it into that eastern corner there.
Yeah. I think that's an opportunity, hopefully, right? Because you get to
Okay.
pick what it is.
Yeah.
I like that being an opportunity for something.
All right. So I'm gonna put that there. This plateau. Alexi, would you like to add a threat, an opportunity, or a faction?
Look, I'm not going to be around here to have to deal with things. So
Absolutely. That's
obviously have
exactly
to
what
add
I
a
thought.
threat.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's sort of a faction and a threat.
Okay.
I'm going to say this because Father's Feast Hall, that was an imperial temple that was kind of abandoned after the empire fell, right? And it's kind of been, I think a new religious group has sprung up and taken it over, and I think they are also worshippers of the Kraken. I think we have some of the Kraken cult springing up within the bounds of the land. And it's centered on Father's Feast Hall, which has obviously been renamed to the Kraken's Feast Hall.
Okay, I'll change that. Nice.
You're welcome, everybody.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
David, threat, faction, opportunity.
Yeah. I want to add a new faction. I'm trying to think of what would be a good one. So let's see. We know we have nobles and merchants. What are we missing? Let's see. Would it be interesting if like First Throne itself, especially since it's gone through such a I don't know, rapid expansion, maybe just like the city's populace as kind of a huge city. Does that make sense?
Like, do you feel? Does that feel like a threat? Does it feel like a new faction? Does it feel like a? What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking more of a faction onto itself.
Okay.
Like, oh, we have to please people from New York City, even though
So there's just sort of an urban an urban faction that has a power unto itself in the realm.
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
The people, the citizens who are identify with the city more than with the land.
Yeah.
So the first citizens.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe there's even like a mayor, burgermeister or something that's power or perhaps rival or friend to the arbiter.
Nice. And then Brian, what do you want to add?
I was thinking, kind of because we built this aqueduct, and then we were talking about the merchants faction. So maybe like the network of like roads and trade routes that now all of a sudden spring up, connecting to the aqueduct. So all of a sudden places that were, much more isolated are now, if you could just, clear a path to the aqueduct, then you've got, the fast track to, the rest of civilization. So
it feels like a new opportunity that's out there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the
We should probably draw the aqueduct on there.
Yeah, I'm going to do that a little bit later. What I'm going to do is, since I've just written out new trade routes, done it in parentheses, and we'll kind of put that in the middle to kind of mark out that we've got that as an opportunity on the table. My last question is, Samat, do you continue on? Do you change playbook? Do you change role? What happens?
Smart becomes a champion, I think.
Okay, so just changing role.
I think I'm changing playbook too,
Ooh.
though. Let me get a character here. So yeah, I'm changing role and playbook.
Okay.
And the playbook had the page marked.
Hmm.
I got these stupid little. I'm just yelling at myself out loud. Is the Bogatir?
Okay, taking on the more warrior role.
Yeah, I think with what's going on and wanting to tame the Southlands.
Okay,
I think he wants to take a leadership role in that.
So next time we'll ask you about this oath that you've sworn to confront a particular foe. We'll get a sense of that. Alexi, if you were to continue on, what would happen to Ivana? What would we see for her future? This is kind of almost like we're epiloguing here a little bit for you.
Yeah, I think she tries to do this leader thing, right, where she's been placed in command of the warriors of the Church of Uncreated Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Probably there's some battles against the Kingdom of Drago, battles against the Kraken cult springing up within the land, and to all outward appearances, she's very successful at leading these forays, but she always seems disappointed afterwards, and like those close to her murmur that she's looking to make some last desperate stand and is continually disappointed not to do so. And I think she grows old and can no longer be as much in active service, especially since she never recovered fully the skill she once had. She made a valiant effort to relearn fighting with her left hand, but never matches the heights of what she was before. And so I think her epilogue would be becoming more of the factor, the power behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
to arrange things to the interests of her house, but always haunted by a regret to not have had the glorious confrontation that she dreamed of.
Are you haunted literally and figuratively with that, with the ancestors that you can talk to, or is it really just you?
I think she just hasn't called on the ancestors since the death of Nazar Red, because she doesn't want to hear what they'd have to say.
Nice, very nice. What about Stonia? Changing playbooks, changing role?
Yeah, I think I want to change her playbook, but I'm
Okay.
still debating on which
Sure.
one to go with.
And when you change a playbook, you'll essentially effectively choosing a new role. So you'll check a second role box, which means you'll get an extra move when you go to that new playbook.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. What are you looking at? What are you thinking?
Yeah. So I think it could be interesting to either go with the vagabond, as she's kind of taking it upon herself to kind of look into this stuff on her own.
Mm-hmm.
But also the ambassador could be interesting too if I go with they've given her kind of a more leadership sort of role. So she's representing the keepers, in different places.
Interesting. Those are both good choices. Well, I'll let you think about that and think about what you want as a potential role change. Ziv, what about for you? Are you staying with the same playbook and changing role? Are you just staying? Are you still running Ziv? Are you changing playbook? What do you think?
I mean, I could see Ziv becoming a factor at some point instead of the ambassador. Nothing else really makes sense.
If you stay the ambassador and change roles, then you get to take either a new move or add +1 to a stat.
Yeah, switching to outsider is actually interesting.
Interesting. Well, once you think on that, we'll check
Okay.
in with you at the beginning of next session, since this is pretty heavy to hit you all with. It's sort of the end of a session, but we'll check in, and that'll give us a nice chance to review where everybody's at as we bring in a new house and player. Does that sound good?
That's great.
Would you mind, since it's kind of we'll stop, would you mind doing a quick stars and wishes here, just to kind of go through? One of the things I'll mention before we do that is that now that we've seen how a project works, you'll find that it's faster. We've got 5 sessions left. I would estimate that we'd be able to get through 2 projects in the course of that, because it'd be a little bit better sense of how things go. So Scott, stars, wishes, being things you particularly want to see next time.
Star to Brian for Ziv's handling of now I'm gonna forget the NPC's name, but the slime who none of us liked. Well, at least I didn't like, and Ivana didn't like.
Nazar Rudd.
How beautiful! What a beautiful way to deal with a problem. While thinking that they can trust you fully. It's to be commended. What a beautiful storyline there. It was really great. And I look forward to exploring more of the map. Felt like it didn't do a lot of exploring this round. Obviously, it was a bit of a broken up session with the missed sessions and whatnot, but definitely out down south. But I'm just looking over the map when I was placing things. It's like, wow, we actually have a lot to explore here.
Yeah, just a lot of interesting things in there. Yeah. Okay. Alexi.
Big star to you, Lowell, for your handling of that miss in the vengeance scene. I really liked the direction this ended up, leaving the character going, and I didn't know like what emotional tone this this ending would have, and I really enjoy like a hollow, unfulfilling revenge that that haunts her. That worked great, and that was a great interpretation of what the miss could mean there. I enjoyed that a lot. And Brian, star to you for being willing to play into my character's drive as well, and and help out with setting that up.
Awesome. And Alexi, I've enjoyed that character, and I am supremely happy that we were able to get a conclusion to that line. And actually, I really loved the thing you did with the crafters and how you played that out and how you brought in the Kraken, because I'd kind of forgotten about the Kraken until you brought that element back into there, and that was great.
Never gonna forget the Kraken.
David, stars, wishes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to echo everybody else. This the rivalry, the two scenes were really interesting. Just the whole setup, and then just the the grisly murder on the shore was really interesting. And I really like we kind of focus more on the house level, I guess.
Mhm.
It was really interesting. It's now very like microscopy almost.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of the microscope to kind of moving forward the timeline and finding this. I think it's a good way to put it. Now you're thinking about your character for next time. I don't know if you have any wishes that you want to state, or do you need to get a better sense of where Stonia is going before you define that?
Yeah, I think especially since Brian was saying he's going to stick with the ambassador, she's probably going to be a vagabond, I think.
Ooh.
So
Oh, nice.
That could be pretty interesting to see how she yeah, I guess goes out in the wilderness and is doing the research on her own, field scientist.
Yeah, a chance to look and see, a chance to travel and see different locations. Okay.
And I feel she's definitely got to look into this that, what was it, the like the lost mine of Emerald Fire or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Lost Emerald Mine. Awesome. And Brian?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compete with yeah, our representative of the Church of murdering with one. feeding the Kraken. But I'd also say I love that moment, just the moons on our aqueduct. That ritual was also a really great moment.
Anything wishes wise you want to definitely see next time?
No.
Okay. No. We'll see. We've got a lot of
I'm sure it'll be good, whatever it is.
Yeah, we've got a lot of dishes spinning that we'll see, where characters end up next time, and have a chance to look at those and see where that goes. So I think that's where we're going to stop. Is everyone okay with me posting the video? Okay. I will post it, and if you change your mind, you can always give me a heads up, and we'll take it down. I'm going to stop recording. Alexi, again, thank you for coming and playing. It'll be sad to not have the church, but it's been great fun having you for the sessions we have.
It's been really fun to be part of this.
Yeah, it's been fun playing together again, Alexi. It's been a while. So